More now on that terrifying plot to kidnap the governor and the charges against these 13 men. We bring in Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. Thank you so much for joining us on this busy day. Of course, today Governor Whitmer blasted President Trump, saying that he's stoking violence. Let's take a listen.
Just last week, the President of the United States stood before the American people and refused to condemn white supremacists and hate groups like these two Michigan militia groups. Stand back and stand by, he told them. Stand back and stand by. Hate groups heard the president's words not as a rebuke, but as a rallying cry, as a call to action.
So do you agree with the governor's accusation there? And we should also note that the alleged plot against her began in the summer before Trump said those particular words.
Well, firstly, I absolutely do believe that what the governor is saying is correct. Maybe his most recent message, his most recent comments just came recently. But remember, when this plot was originally hatched, remember, it's not just a plot to kidnap, put on trial, and then potentially execute the governor. It was also to take over the state legislature and to potentially commit mass murder there, as well as to execute members of law enforcement and other public officials. So this is a multi-pronged plot. Perhaps the most advanced portion of it involved this portion involving Governor Whitmer. But, all along, the president has been making various different statements, right? He talked about liberating Michigan. He certainly talked about there being good people on both sides. He has made comment after comment that instead of condemning white supremacist groups that have extremist ideologies, he has not just condoned them, I would say he has encouraged them. Were it not for us having a commander-in-chief who has provided this kind of encouragement, I don't know that we'd be in the place that we are today.
How close would you say these men actually came to carrying out their alleged plot to storm the Michigan Capitol building and kidnap the governor? And are you worried that someone else might try to do this?
Well, the first part of your question is, it seemed apparent to us as though there was an immediate nature to these plans and that these plans were to be, move forward imminently. Am I worried about other events? Absolutely, I am. There are a number of different groups out there, and this is not just a Michigan problem. This is an American problem at this point. These groups span across multiple states, and there's not just one group. There's not just a couple of them. There are dozens of them, and their overall mission is this civil unrest to create a civil war of sorts, a boogaloo, as they call it. And they're taking advantage of the fact that we have this horrific COVID epidemic, and we have civil unrest in the way of the Black Lives Matter protests. And we have so much turmoil going on in the nation right now. And it's not helped by the fact that we have a president of the United States that subscribes to anarchy, who thrives on chaos. And what it allows is for these type of extremist ideologies to thrive.
So state prosecutors charged 7 other individuals linked to the militia group, the Wolverine Watchmen. What can you tell us about this group? And does that group still pose a threat now that charges are pending?
Well, hopefully the charges against that particular group, that subsect, will have done something to diminish anything that group was planning on. But remember, they're not the only group. There are many others. Again, not just in the state of Michigan, but across state lines. And remember, their training activities actually occurred in multiple different states with multiple different groups. Our work is not done, unfortunately, but I think it's very, very important that, firstly, we take these types of groups, white supremacy groups, militia groups, extremist organizations, very, very seriously. We've had the FBI director talk extensively about how domestic terrorism poses one of the biggest existential threats that we could possibly be facing in the United States. And, we have to have leadership in this country that is willing to condemn hatred. And instead of, adding to this dangerous and reckless rhetoric, seeks to unite the country.
How difficult do you think that it'll be to actually prosecute these defendants, since they're mainly charged with foiled attempts to commit crimes?
I think we have more than enough evidence. And I will say this, that, generally speaking, the laws, at least in Michigan, Of course, when you talk about conspiracy, I mean, even just to have had these gatherings where they devised these plots verbally really would have been enough. But we're talking about a number of overt actions that were undertaken by this group. So I feel very confident in these charges and very confident that we'll be successful in this prosecution.
And lastly, I just want to get a sense as far as how concerned you are about extremist violence in Michigan and across the country, in particular as we get closer to Election Day.
Well, it is a source of serious concern, but in Michigan here, we're prepared for it. And we are working in concert with law enforcement all over the state, and that people know that it's safe and secure to vote on Election Day. And of course, fortunately here in Michigan, we have no reason absentee voting, so you don't have to vote on Election Day if you don't want to. But if you choose to do that, you will be safe and secure, and law enforcement will protect you.
Attorney General Nessel, we thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.